Hi friends, this is Michael Golzmane, and I want to talk about in this video exactly what in my experience the definition of energy clearing work is really all about. So energy clearing work presupposes a belief or an experience that we are more than just our physical bodies. If we believe that we're just our physical bodies, then energy clearing work, though it still can be valuable, may not have its maximum effectiveness because we're not really open consciously to something greater than ourselves. But I would guess those of you watching this video, you're open to something greater than yourself. You understand the power of the mind, you understand the power of emotions, and beyond that, the power of the infinity of the spiritual universe. You can call that angels, you can call that God, you can call it goddess, you can call it spirit. There's an infinite abundance of beings, of consciousness, of help, of abundance in every form that is bigger than ourselves. Now, energy clearing work also presupposes another idea, and that is that we are a part of that. Just because we have physical bodies does not mean that we are just the physical body. We are connected inextricably to this infinity of spirit, this larger consciousness. This is something that we can talk about all day, but mentally it doesn't really make a lot of sense to us because most of the world is engaged in only a five-sense reality, believing that we are just our atomic structure, our chemistry, everything in life can be explained based on simply five-sense reality, what we can see, what we can taste, what we can touch, what we can feel, what we can hear. But those things are relatively true, and they're very important in some cases, like building a bridge, doing engineering work. Very important for us to trust our five-sense reality. For the deeper things around human meaning and evolution, the deeper aspects of our psychology, asking the questions, why do I do what I do? Why can't I seem to manifest the things in life that I want to manifest? Even if I put my attention on them, why can't I seem to do that? These are deeper existential and spiritual questions that I think are better answered by a larger holistic model of life, which includes the power of an infinite force. In physics, they can call this the unified field. We can tend to call it God or spirit, though those terms are not really specifically religious in the way I'm using them here. They don't mean any particular religion, though all religions really do refer to this at some level. So, assuming that you have that belief that there's something larger in ourselves, and that we're a part of that, we're an extension of that, the idea is here, so why do we need to work with energy at all? Do energy clearing work, do energy healing work? Why is that necessary? Well, here's the thing. This infinite energy that is spirit is infinitely good. It is infinitely supplying of every good thing. It's infinitely healing. It infinitely provides for every desire, every want, every need that we individually and that all of humanity has. So the question is, well, why don't we see everyone's needs being met? Why do we see so many problems and challenges on Earth? And the issue is that we have the power within ourselves, consciously and subconsciously, to block the flow of that energy. We have the possibility to deny its presence, to forget about it, to curse it, to avoid it, to say, nope, sorry God, I'm not going to engage with you right now. I'm not going to participate in that consciousness. Now, most of us are not doing this consciously. Most of this comes from our huge, long, infinite soul history, where we have made unconscious judgments about, well, I'm seeing this disease in my body, therefore God must not love me, therefore I'm going to reject this idea of spirit, and I'm going to buy into suffering must be my basic nature, must be what we're here for. Suffering, disease, poverty, all of these things, disorder in relationships, all of these things, we then substitute within our own minds those relative realities. It's just it's a temporary part of reality, that stuff. Yes, it has substantial physical substance behind it here on Earth. If we have a certain physical condition, then it's obvious that we have that physical condition, but from a larger spiritual perspective, there is something that has gotten in the way. There's some gloms in the gears. There's boulders in the stream. If we think about God or life or spirit and the infinite spirit that we're talking about here as being a stream of well-being, a stream of presence, a stream of all that is good, constantly flowing, then the only way that we could not receive that is if we blocked off that stream by putting boulders in the stream. And we do that by having beliefs that are contrary to spirit, judgments about life that are limiting, that are contrary to spirit, by having perceptions about life that, life is going to be, it's going to be really hard. I'm going to have to work really hard my entire life doing something I don't want to do so I can retire when I'm 65 and then enjoy myself. That's a deep belief that we have here in the United States and in Western civilization society oftentimes. But again, that's a belief in limitation. That's a belief you're buying into a limited lens of seeing life. And therefore, this spiritual principle, which I'm sure many of you are familiar with, our thoughts tend to create our reality. Rather than using that term exactly in that way, I would say energy work is all around our thoughts have the potential to either become a channel and a harnessing for the infinite, benevolent, abundant spiritual consciousness, or they have the ability to limit that consciousness. If they're limiting it, then it shows up in our lives as lack, limitation, joylessness, sadness, lack of money, lack of health, lack of relationships, lack of business prosperity, all of these kinds of things. Now you might say, well, I don't remember limiting this level of consciousness in some way. I don't really seem like I have those beliefs anymore. Remember, most of what we are is not conscious. Like an iceberg, 1% of the iceberg you can sort of see sticking out above the ocean. 99% of it is beneath the surface. You might not even think it's there. Same thing is true with our soul history and with our mind. Most of who we are, most of what we're vibrating to right now is as a result of what our subconscious mind is believing, is holding on to. It has unfinished business in the subconscious mind that's never been fully resolved. And this is throughout our soul's history. Yes, I'm talking about past lifetimes, the fact that we've been around the block a few times. We've been around the block more than just from our physical birth in this lifetime. This is absolutely a fact for each one of us, no matter what our belief system is about it. So that stuff from below the surface is kind of driving the ship of our life, very unconsciously. We don't even know it's there. We only know that it's there because it shows up as symptoms. It shows up as, gosh, I really want to be able to do this thing in life, but I just can't figure out why it's so hard for me. Other people are doing it. Why can't I seem to do it? I know I have the potential. I know I'm getting my mindset right. I know I'm doing even the work that it takes for something to shift in my life experience, but I can't get it to shift. Why is that? And this is where energy clearing work comes in. Because we can work directly with the subconscious mind, with the power of spirit, to figure out exactly what's going on that's blocking the energy from really flowing in your life. That's really what it's really all about. If the energy is flowing 100%, then the energy is always benevolent, it's always loving, it's always fulfilling, it's always prosperous, it's always healing, that's its nature. That's God's nature, that's spirit's nature, that's the nature of life, is to be doing that. When we get out of the way of it, or when we allow our minds to become positive channels to allow it to come to us, then it comes to us effortlessly. So the question is, we have to be able to go in and work with getting out of the way, getting all of this stuff scooped out, excavated out of the subconscious mind, out of the soul records, to be able to get it out of the way so that spirit can do its work. Hear this for a minute. Spirit can do its work in, through, and as our lives. In, through, and as our lives. Remember, as I said earlier, we're part of spirit. We're an extension of spirit. We can believe that we're not. We can believe that we're separate from spirit, and that belief will create the results, the conditions in our lives of feeling separate from spirit. Disease, poverty, sadness, depression, isolation, lack of business, lack of feeling optimistic about life, all of these kinds of things. So the question is, so how do we get that stuff out of there? And this is what the whole purpose of energy clearing work all is about. Now, in my own personal practice, I know that I am not the one doing the clearing for myself or for you. If we work together in a group clearing or we work together in an individual session, I am not doing the clearing for you because of some technique or something I've learned. However, I have learned from experience, I have learned certain styles of working that will enable me to kind of go in, to work with the power of my spiritual connection, and to sort of point our finger to, this is the block that's going on right here. This is the issue that's coming up, that's getting in the way in my life or in your life. And then we allow, through a mysterious process, I don't really understand, I just know it when it happens, and my clients feel it when it's happening, that spirit can then remove the block It's really very much similar to the analogy of pulling a boulder out of a stream. When the stream is not able to flow because a boulder is there, imagine a huge bunch of boulders in a stream. The stream can't flow because this boulder is there. What can happen? The water can get stagnant. It can grow algae. The life that's in the water can die. It doesn't have this wonderful motion to it. Same thing is true in our own lives. When we're out of the flow, we can have things that are out of rapport with that perfection, harmony, abundance of spirits. When we remove the boulders out of the way, what does the water do? It just starts going back to what it's always been doing. It doesn't judge you. It doesn't say, well, why haven't I been flowing all this time? There's none of all of that spiritual judgment stuff is like religious programming stuff that we've learned. It has nothing to do with spirit. Spirit, there's no judgment. There's only forgiveness, only joy, only love, only peace, only healing, only about at all times. So once we take the boulders out of the way, the stream begins to flow, and it's like you're back into that connection. The connection's been reestablished. So therefore, your life conditions, like health, wealth, vitality, feeling good emotionally, feeling connected, feeling optimistic, feeling unlimited potential, your life conditions begin to reflect more and more who and what spirit is. Remember, you're a part of spirit, but you're not just the allness of spirit. There's a greater force at work here, but you begin to reflect more and more of that the more you get out of the way, do the clearing work, get into rapport with spirit once again, and allow your life to flow. And this is the basis of energy clearing work. So what does it feel like when clearing work happens? It can feel very blissful. It can feel like, oh, I'm letting go of all this energy I've been holding on to. I'm letting go of this stress, I'm letting go of this tension, I'm letting go of trying to do everything myself as a limited individual person who is just sort of seeing things with five sense reality. That's what most of us get stuck on at various points in our lives. We think that we're isolated from the whole. We're separate from the universe. We're separate from God. We're separate from spirit. We try to do everything manifesting from that perspective. And it will eventually no longer work for you. As everyone on a spiritual path has eventually discovered, it does not work for you. And this, again, is independent of religion. Doesn't matter what holy book you ascribe to, what religion or lack of religion you're a part of. This works well for atheists. It doesn't really matter as long as you're just open to something greater than yourself. And if you're not, that's probably a point of spiritual clearing also. Why have I gotten out of the flow so much that my belief that there's a punishing deity out there has actually stopped up my ability to be in the flow of life? So I encourage you to do whatever it takes for you to get back in the flow. This can be engaging in energy clearing work. This can be doing qigong and yoga. This can be doing breath practice. This can be walking. This can be consuming more water. Anything that promotes flow in the body, hydration, flow, juiciness of the tissues, vegetable juice, these kinds of things all help to nourish that state of getting back in the flow with spirits. And taking from all these different directions, working with our minds, working with what are our stuck and hard thoughts, what are the beliefs that we're absolutely attached to that are not serving us, working through all these different dimensions, spiritual, mental, emotional, and physical. It's stacking the odds in your favor, and it really helps you to be able to release into that wonderful flow of life. Meditation is a great way to do this. That's why meditation is so encouraged for people on a spiritual path, because it gets you out of just five sense reality and it connects you into something deeper within you, something larger in yourself, reconnects you back to your source. So I hope this video has been useful for you as a little introduction to what energy clearing work really is all about. I am creating several other videos in this series to talk more specifically about areas of life like business and health and relationships and emotions and all these sorts of things, to see how can this work be useful in all of those different areas. And I hope you'll watch those videos. Thanks so much, friends. Please feel free to click below this video to my website, clearandconnect.com. If you want to be in touch with me, ask me questions about this. I'm happy to check in with you at any time. Peace, friends. Hope to talk to you soon. Bye-bye.